looking so fresh. When I walk by, breaking their necks. Waiting in line at the team store. Now I'm feeling fly like a condor. Eyes on me when I walk through the door. Man, I wish I bought a couple more. Cause I really love my city. It was worth every penny. If it were at my show, then I know they gon' tip me. Think I might add a couple patches. If you think it's ugly, you capping. Now my whole outfit matching. Never going out of fashion.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Talking Friars. I am Ben Fadden. We talk about the Padres here, and they just took 2 out of 3 against the Cubs. Take the series. Obviously, they split the season series because the Cubs won 2 out of 3 at Wrigley. But at Wrigley, they were not playing in the best baseball weather. They're obviously back at Petco in this series, playing in better weather. And would you look at that? Padres offense does come alive. You had much better pitching performances from guys that pitched at Wrigley and pitched here. You know, comparing those two outings, can't really compare. They weren't very similar. You know, Nick Pivetta today going 6 innings, giving up just 1 earned run, walking 1 guy. That was not what was happening at Wrigley. And then Randy Vasquez goes 5 innings, 1 run yesterday. And then in the series opener, Dylan Cease was better than, I know it was a low bar, but he was better than the Sacramento outing. And so I think there's a little bit of progress there. But definitely the 2 bright spots pitching wise, you know, starting pitching with the last 2 games of this series. I know the Padres lost yesterday, but Randy is doing his job, keeping the Padres in games. And then Nick Pivetta, the one significant money deal the Padres gave in the offseason. At Petco Park, this dude is like the best pitcher in baseball. The one outing that has been a struggle was at Wrigley, which again, it was mid-40s. He's not going to be pitching in the mid-40s every time out or the majority of starts. Very little of the time will it be that. So, loving what I'm seeing from Pivetta. I thought Scan did a great job on the broadcast talking about the location of some pitches, some of his mistakes. He wasn't hitting the spots, and that's what happens. But a lot of the time today, he was hitting his spots, whether it was the fastballs up or it was the breaking balls down, hitting those spots, being effective. And obviously, I think fans, broadcasters, everyone loves that he works at that fast pace. And obviously, the competitiveness that we see in Nick Pivetta reminds me of Joe Musgrove. And obviously, Joe not being able to be on the mound. It's nice to have that guy. Not saying that Michael King isn't or other guys in this rotation aren't, but I think Pivetta shows it the most obvious. So, loving having him on this Padres team. It seemed like maybe an adjustment was made or just a quick reminder. Ruben Niebla, they showed it on the broadcast for Pivetta in the middle of the outing. Work towards the mound. Don't pull off on that front, the front shoulder. So maybe that helped. But this pitching continues to be really good. Wandy did give up that 1 run today, but he was able to get out of the inning with that strikeout of Kyle Tucker. Estrada didn't give up any runs. Robert Suarez got his 8th save of the year. He still has yet to allow an earned run. He has a 0 ERA. Estrada has a .87 ERA. And it was big for Pivetta to go 6 innings today and the Padres to stick with Wandy and for Wandy to get through that inning of work, that 8th inning, because I post that bullpen chart before every game, almost every game. And today, there were probably some relievers that were down. Actually, there was. For example, Jason Adam, if he would have thrown today, that would have been 3 consecutive days, and that just wasn't going to happen. Adrian Morejon, a lefty, that would have been 3 consecutive days. So there were some key guys that would the Padres have gone to Jason Adam there? Yes, they would have. But you go to Wandy, who's had a good start to the season, and I know he had some pitches over the middle of the plate, but then he bounced back. The pitch that struck out Kyle Tucker, it must have been nasty looking to Kyle Tucker or just totally fooled him because it wasn't like that was dotted on a corner or anything. So I kind of, let out a nice, okay, yeah, deep breath or exhale, when that strikeout happened because, yeah, it was a little worrisome there with Kyle Tucker up. But I do understand at the same time you stick with the lefty on lefty, and it worked. Um, what I loved, I know I've said this a bunch already, and it's not like I'm saying something that other Padres fans, other hosts of other shows aren't saying. Everyone's saying it, but just the team baseball that continues to be played, guys doing the thing that they need to do in that situation. And we saw that today. I don't know if this is going to be talked about enough because I think people are going to talk about Manny's performance today, and rightfully so. But Tatis is what helped the Padres win this game here. Let's remember this. In the bottom of the third, Tatis, I want to say, yeah, there was one out in the inning. I want to make sure I get this full situation right. Top of the third, or bottom of the third, excuse me. Diaz walks, Wade singles, but there was already an out. Connor Joe struck out swinging in that first batter of that inning. So first and second, Tatis, one out, and he runs that ball out, grounder to second base, and he forces Horner, makes him go quick. And Tatis, he's running down the line. He's not just lollygagging it down the line or, saving his body for the rest of the season, because we know Manny doesn't run all balls out. And we get, there's a method to his, maybe the madness isn't the right word, but you get what I'm saying. There's a reason why he doesn't all the time, right? But Tatis does in this situation, beats the throw. If he didn't beat that throw, there's 2 outs in the inning. Arise lines out to center, inning over. And you don't score that second run the Padres scored on that Manny single because Manny doesn't even get up in that situation. And it was 2-1. Cubs obviously came back. Pico Armstrong, PCA with that homer, and that's 2 runs for them. And the Padres, it could have been, who knows what would have happened after that, but based on what the score was, maybe they win 3-2, not 4-2, or it's 3-2 in a certain situation. And maybe the Cubs' approaches change a little bit. I don't know, but I just wanted to shout it out Tatis in that situation because I noticed it, for running down the line, beating that throw to keep it from being 2 outs in that inning. And then, so there was 1 out, Arise gets out, there's 2 outs, Manny with the single through the left side. Obviously, Tyler Wade, what a great game that he had, right? Just showing off his speed. I saw people on social media seeing the lineup that goes out today, and Tyler Wade's in center field, and they're like, what can Tyler Wade do that Tercer Ornelas and Eggy Rosario can't do? Why is Tyler Wade on this roster? And I replied essentially like, well, I'm going to trust the Padres that they know more than we do. We're not in the building. They know more than we do about Tyler Wade's ability to play center field. And he has speed. I know you have to get on base for, to really show that speed sometimes, but he does have that speed. And we saw it here today. He scored from what? It was from first base on, I think, the Manny second RBI down the left field line. He scored from second easily on that first RBI single to left field by Manny. In center field, he makes that running catch in the gap. I want to say that was in the 9th inning for the first out. So making an impact today, we saw that from Tyler Wade. And this is a vet. I know he doesn't have a ton of center field experience. And by the way, the Padres did pick up Bryce Johnson, former Padre. They traded for him from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and they traded Brett Sullivan to the Pirates. So I'm totally fine with that. Like, they needed that center field depth. Are they going to go with Bryce Johnson over Tyler Wade? I don't think so, because Tyler Wade can do more for the Padres than Bryce Johnson can. Both guys are probably lighter offensively. I think Bryce Johnson's a righty. But I think, Merrill was a lefty. They put Wade up lefty. He has speed. He can play infield as well, can pinch run, play some center field. I think Bryce Johnson is more of, okay, can we immediately have someone that has the speed if something happens to Tyler Wade? If something happens to Jason Hayward, because he played some center field in this Cubs series. So I think that's the thinking there, just to have some more depth there. I don't think it's Bryce Johnson immediately coming up to the Padres. I don't even think he was at the big league level with the Pirates when this deal happened. So, but yeah, Tyler Wade, Manny, Tatis, just some impactful games from them today. Tatis and Manny too, but especially Tatis, they're late with the 4 walks in that inning by Luke Little, I think was his name, that Cubs reliever. That requires a lot of patience because obviously you're probably in that situation, bases loaded in the 8th inning. You want to make something happen, but he didn't do that. And he was patient, lets it come to him, and they benefit from it. And Hayward was able to score there to make it 4-2. And that insurance run obviously is big because you just don't know what's going to happen. You can never have enough insurance runs. With Suarez coming in, yeah, I felt pretty good. But let's say Manny doesn't make that amazing play on the bunt. I don't know why Michael Busch is trying to bunt down the third baseline. He saw Manny was back a little bit probably, but like, come on, man. He tries to bunt. Manny grabs it bare hand, makes the throw. Great play by him. If that play isn't made, if something happens, because Manny doesn't make that play all the time, the majority of the time, but not 100% of the time, because it's baseball, things can happen. It's a tough play. Runner on first with, I think it would have been 1 out in that situation. Now, Dansby did hit a grounder to short, so that could have been a double play ball anyway to end it. But you just don't know what would have happened there in that situation. And so, again, those insurance runs always are big. Also, it was big, I'm not even talking about the 4th run, but just the 3rd run, I think. Yeah, because when it was 3-1, Wandy comes in, and he's been good this season, but then we could also have the Wandy performance, at least the beginning of that inning, where it wasn't looking great. Obviously, bounces back, gets that strikeout of Kyle Tucker there to get out of the jam. But yeah, it was just great to see, again, the team baseball. I know some may be tired of me saying it, but I'm not tired of saying it because the Padres are 15-4. And if I'm going to, appreciate the team baseball all season long, I will do that. As long as they're winning baseball games, that is well and fine with me. But yeah, just the patience, not trying to be the superhero. Tatis with the 2-hand finish on swings is what he's trying to do, obviously. And then, if you guys have noticed, I don't know if it's with just 2 strikes or every pitch, but he has the toe tap where he gets his foot down early and he's not going to be late on those pitches. And he's actually kind of like, it reminds me of a little bit. Well, it is Bryce Harper, just from the other side, where Bryce has done the toe tap like that, gets down early, so he's not late on 2-strike pitches. And it's a little bit of it's at least, I haven't been watching Bryce like super recently, but I know he's done this in years past where he has the super high leg kick, lots of movement, power, all that earlier in counts. And then when there's 2 strikes, it's much more, okay, toe tap, get it down. He knows he has power, and then you work with it that way. Same thing goes with Tatis. So I love seeing that and just being smart about how you're approaching these at-bats and how you're going up there and how you're trying to attack the pitcher when he's trying to attack you, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Encouraged by this series win. I know that yesterday with that loss, they could have definitely won that game. There was opportunities there. Manny had an opportunity. What'd they go? 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position, left 8 guys on base. When Randy gives up just 1 run in 5 innings, like, keeps you in the game, you want to go win that game. Bullpen doesn't give up any earned runs. You want to go win that game. But, a rise, obviously, that hurt. I don't know if you would have got him at home plate. That was a tough play there. And I went back to watch some of the highlights, and I don't know. Because would he have just glove flipped it home? And sometimes that kind of just lofts to the catcher, and it's not like straight right at the catcher. So sometimes you can't make that play. Arise trying to transfer the ball to his throwing hand and make the toss or the throw home. That would have taken some time. Like, it was not like that runner was clearly out if Arise would have just fielded the ball. So, but still, it would have been a close play at the plate. And by the way, talking about close plays, forgot to mention, today, talk about close play. What a throw by Elias Diaz. With Xander Bogaerts with the tag, not going out and getting it, but receiving it. But I mean, Bogaerts, let's be honest, like, why would you go out for that? It was literally you could not have a more perfect throw. The throw was right to Bogarts' glove, and Bogarts didn't have to really do anything. It was already at the tag, on the foot of the base runner. And guess what? That ends the inning. If he doesn't make that perfect throw, the runner's safe, one. And two, there's a runner in scoring position. I believe it would have been the game-tying run in scoring position at that time. So just doing those little things, but huge things at the same time, if that makes sense. Being patient at the plate. When you get a mistake like Manny got a couple times, taking advantage of it. Yesterday, I know they lost, but there were a couple mistakes by the Cubs, and then he hits that homer in that at-bat. Popped up too. That was bizarre. How does Kyle Tucker drop that ball? Did he lose it in the lights? And then the third baseman dropping that in foul territory, just was the communication off? You should not be catching the ball like this. One, it should be here. Sorry for the podcast audience, but I was motioning there. So, it was frustrating, Padres not being able to take advantage of some situations yesterday. But if you're going to win every series, you're going to win most of your series, you're going to be a playoff team. And again, Padres 15-4 after today. They're the first team to 15 wins. If you want to be glass half empty on this, I don't know what to tell you. Go find another show that's going to try to be negative in some way about this team. I thought it was interesting today that Connor Joe was in there when it was a lefty on the mound. Speaking of, I'm just thinking of so many things from today's game while I'm talking here. Lefty on the mound, Matt Boyd, how is that not a balk? With Manny on first base, where Manny gets thrown out. Again, I know they won the game and all that. Manny still went 2 for 4, drove in 2 runs, but he was on first. And Matthew Boyd, Mud and Don thought it was box on the broadcast when they saw the replay. A lot of fans on social media thought that was a balk. And what is it? 45 degrees or whatever the rule is. Is it even a rule? Is it just it's up to the umpire, whatever he thinks, kind of like check swing, whatever he thinks. But yeah, I tweeted out, that's either, if you missed it, go look it up on my Twitter. Either that's a heck of a move or that's just a totally missed balk call. And I feel like that was a missed balk call. They didn't show, though, on the broadcast of Manny, going up to the umpire and being pissed off about it or anything. But maybe he was like, well, I can't be pissed off about it because it's not like they can replay this. There's no review on balks, to my knowledge. But yeah, was Manny leaning? Yeah. Did he kind of take a little bit of a step towards second base a little bit? Yeah. But I'm sorry, you go look at the replay. Boyd's foot is going towards home plate. Now, it's a heck of a move, for him to keep the balance and sling it over there as the lefty like that. That's still impressive, but that just looks like a balk. It does. Does the first base umpire have the angle that we did there? No, he has a different angle, obviously. But from his angle, maybe it would have been harder to see what direction Boyd is going. Is he going home? Is it 45 degrees? Is it more than that? Because from the angle that we got, which was, again, the opposite side, it was easier for us. But, yeah, that was weird. I know I'm jumping all around here. But, yeah, yesterday, there were some opportunities. I think, yeah, Manny struck out. I mean, that I think it was a fastball, right down the middle, essentially. Bases loaded, and he struck out swinging there in the bottom of the third. Had second and third in the fourth inning. Maldonado struck out. So, yeah, the Arise thing, obviously. So, there were some chances, obviously. I want to say they had another chance late. Bogarts double play in the 8th. And then the 10th inning came around, and that was a meatball. It was. Yuki to Nico Horner. That was a meatball. Took it the other way. Horner did his job. Dansby scored, made it 2-1. And then Iglesias, he stole third, right? Where was this? I was listening on the radio at this point. I'm pretty sure it was Iglesias. Yeah, because he started the inning at second base. Connor Joe struck out looking. Should have swung. Iglesias steals, though, and that's where, okay, it's one out. So now you have a situation where a well placed sacrifice fly, if you will, and that can score a run. But Diaz grounds out. And that was also like kind of one of those things that has gone the Padres' way so far this year, where Diaz ball hits off the pitcher's glove, but I think it was Horner that was right there. Sometimes for the Padres this year, that's hit off a cleat and gone into the dugout, right? Remember that game when Crony hit that? And then I think it was Gurriel that drove him in on that Saturday game. But here, ball hits off, Horner gets it. If that would have, went closer to first base and kind of went into no man's land, and the Padres can score a run there, and then who knows what would have happened after that. So a little bit unlucky, I'd say, because that ball, what are you taught? Hit the ball up the middle. And that's what Diaz did. Unfortunately, it tipped off the glove and went to the second baseman. Intentional walk to Tatis, and then Arias flew out to left, obviously, and that was that. But I'm not like, at 15-4 at that point, 14-4 after that loss, I wasn't like, oh man, I am so disappointed. That's going to happen. The Cubs are not the worst team in the league, and baseball's hard. Sometimes you're not going to be able to come through with runners in scoring position. We found that out for sure in the 2023 season, didn't we? Holy cow, that was bad. So for that to be like the first game where it was, at least to my memory this year, that it was over and it was like, yeah, lots of opportunities there to come through. Okay, yep, move on. And they did, and they're 15-4. In game one, Tatis obviously homered twice. Just continues to be the MVP candidate. I know you can laugh at me all you want because it's April 16th, Ben. And I get it. Yep, I get it. But the guy's been incredible. He has an OPS of 1048. He's batting 348. He has, 6 home runs on the year. Him in leadoff is so dangerous. It's immediate. You got to be on your game if you're the starting pitcher. 4 for 11 with runners in scoring position in game one of this series. And this one, again, it was some of the other role players coming through. Role players sounds like negative, like they're not important. Everyone's a role player. Tatis has a role, Manny has a role, but you get what I'm saying when I say role players. Some of the smaller name players, the guys that aren't like gonna, okay, for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, put the team on your back and go, right? Wrong game, sorry. 1 second. So down 3-1 at one point in this game. They come back. Iglesias with that single. Manny scored. Sheets got to third. Bogey got to second. And then Hayward comes through. And that, if you go back and watch that location of that pitch, one, Iglesias going the other way. That was great. Excuse me. Was that? No, that must have been a different game or later in the game. Because that's right. He had 2 of the small nubbers. And then that brought in runs, obviously. I think those were his first 2 Padre RBIs in that same inning. And then Hayward, that pitch was not even inside the strike zone. That was outside, but he's someone, obviously, that kind of dives, at least the direction that he's going when the pitch comes. He can get to that pitch and just put the ball in play, and good things can happen. We saw that today with the Cubs defense. And Dansby makes a great diving play, but can he finish the job? No, the throw's too high. Little things like that. I forget who put the ball in play to first, but then their first baseman, I think it was Shaw, kind of just like a goalie almost, wanted to make sure it didn't get under him, get through him, And so he just kind of stopped it, but it got away from him a little bit. Just put the ball in play and good things can happen. And we saw that. Hayward with that ball up the middle, got through, brings in Gavin Sheets. That made it 3-3, tied it up. Putting pressure, the wild pitch, Nate Pearson, Tatis scored, and then Gavin Sheets. A message to the Petco Park sound people, organist, or whoever does it. When Gavin Sheets is up, I was listening to this part on the radio too. When Gavin Sheets was up, do the sound, that corresponds with the Holy Sheets chants. Da, da, da. I'm terrible with replicating the sound, but I was listening and they changed the sound in the middle of the Holy Sheets, chants, and it totally just killed what was going on there. Leave the Holy Sheets, audio. It's not that, but the same audio that they use for Ha Sung Kim. You know what it is. Ha Sung Kim. That beat. That's what it is for Gavin Sheets when he's up. Leave it. Because if you want the crowd to be loud and keep saying that, then do it. Like, just leave it. I thought they screwed up in that situation. But anyway, I'm pretty sure they changed it later in the series, so that was good. But yeah, it's a great. I love hearing it on TV. The chant, I think it was quieter, obviously more at the beginning, but as he's continued to play well, as more Padres fans, because maybe not all Padres fans were watching in spring training, obviously. They're watching every day. They're seeing they know who Gavin Sheets is. They're watching on TV. They hear the chant, and then they go to the game the next day, and then they do the chant. And so it's just going to keep growing here. So I love that, and that's kind of replaced the Ha Sung Kim chants at the ballpark. But yeah, the environment obviously was great. I think Monday was the Hawaiian shirt, but there was over 40,000, I think, every game. But yeah, Gavin Sheets smacked that single to right. Made it 6-3, brought in Arise, brought in Manny. And the Tatis homer really opened it up. I know that was a solo homer, but no, that was a 2-run homer. Made it 8-4 in the 8th. But man, that Gavin Sheets single really felt good as a Padres fan. The Tatis one felt like it really blew it open because, Sheets, that's still a safe situation there, 6-3. But yeah, hanging double digits to start off the Cubs series. Man, that was nice. Luis Arise, him getting to that ball on the home run. I mean, that pitch was nowhere close. That was totally inside. If Anthony Rizzo was up at the plate, that ball would have hit him because we know how close Rizzo is, how he stands to the plate. Baseball fans, how close he goes to the plate. But yeah, Arise, if you go back, you pause when Arise starts his coil, starts to do it, right? The swing. The ball was probably, I imagine, I couldn't totally tell with the angle, but it sure seemed like it was at least more than 50% of the way to the plate already. And he's just starting his swing. And he whips it around to get that home run. That's just super impressive. Maybe other fans aren't impressed by that, but for me, I was impressed by that. I watched that 5 times, and I was like, how did he get to that pitch to pull it, and not just pull it, way foul, but to keep it in and to hit a homer on that pitch? I know it was like a Petco porch job, but that was still impressive. And then my favorite celebration this season, Manny, as Arise is celebrating, comes around home plate, hits home plate, coming back to the dugout. Manny's right there, and boom, gives him the slap right there on the chest, like Arise does to David Macias after singles at first base. That's awesome. And Manny was it was a big slap too. It wasn't just one of those. It wasn't a love tap. So that was cool. The guys are having fun. Obviously, they're 15-4. Of course, you're going to be having fun. But yeah, this team continues to be one that is together, and they're doing the right things. They're situational baseball or defensively, where Schilt postgame was talking about how the middle infielders, including Xander, they have worked and talked about the tags and knowing when to go get it and when to just let it come to you, because guess what? The ball travels faster than your hand. Because when you have to go get it, I'm going to sound like a little league coach here, but you go get it, the runner's moving still, all in one direction. You're not. You're getting it, and then you have to redirect and go back instead of just letting the ball, especially with Diaz, how great of a throw that was, let it come to you, and you don't have to do anything but just receive, boom. So, yeah. Sometimes when you wait for it, I feel like sometimes that can cost you, but it's dependent on the throw situation, you know, where the runner is sliding as well. Anything else that I wanted to add from this series? Oh, Dylan Cease. Should probably talk about him. I did not get the chance to watch Dylan Cease. By the way, if you want to join the show, I probably should have plugged this earlier, but you can click that link pinned up at the top of the chat, and I'll get to the comments here in a little bit. Thank you for the time here live on YouTube or watching on replay or listening on the podcast platforms. By the way, the podcast, so I was not uploading my post-game reactions, like 10, 13 minutes, however long it is usually. I wasn't uploading that to the podcast platform because I was like, do people really want this for, 10 minutes? Usually podcasts I feel like are more better for like the longer shows like this and not just, 10 minutes, but I am starting to try that out and just see how many people end up downloading it, how many people want to listen to it, because I obviously want to help all Padres fans out with that. If, some may not want to watch it on YouTube. Um, some may want to, close their phone, but you can still listen to it. But you can't do that with YouTube unless I think you have to pay for it. So trying to help you guys out with that. We'll see how that works out. But getting back to Dylan Cease, I wasn't able to watch this outing because I was working, but it seemed like things were a little bit better, especially the beginning of the outing. And then there were some hard hit balls. Darnay Tripp, I believe, tweeted out like the exit velocities of 3 or 4 balls were like 99 miles per hour at least. In, I want to say that 6th inning from Cease. He didn't go through full 6, but into that 6th inning, 7 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 runs total, 1 walk, 6 punch outs. Did give up that 1 home run. Who was that home run? Michael Busch. Yeah. Yeah, and I just rewatched that location of that pitch, and let me watch it one more time. He actually kind of hit his spot. I mean, catcher wanted it outside part of the plate. Maybe he wanted it a little bit out of the zone, but it's not like Cease. It's not like he, Pavetta a little bit today had some bad misses. That's going to happen. But like for this home run, it wasn't like, who is that catching? Diaz? No, I think Maldonado. Maldonado wanted it outside and he threw it in. No, he threw it on the outside part of the plate. It's not like he even missed up down. So sometimes you give props to the hitter, but it did look like it kind of floated up there. But that was happening way more in the Sacramento outing. So hopefully Cease builds from this, especially as someone that wasn't watching this outing live. I'm not going to sit here and be super concerned about Dylan Cease. Padres are 15-4. Dylan Cease has a track record of giving innings, performing. It's April 16th. I think I can be excited about guys like Nick Pivetta and Randy Vasquez, how they've started results-wise, and at the same time, not totally freak out because, Dylan Cease isn't having the best results right now. Once we get a couple months in, and if this is happening, then we can start, or not start, but then we can be concerned with what's going on. Remember, Michael King, if you remember was it King last year or was it Lugo a couple years ago? It was one of them. I think it was King. Beginning of the season, gave up a bunch of homers, and it was like, oh, okay, I wonder how this starting thing's going to go. And it ended up going pretty darn good. It's a long season, everybody. It is. And Dylan Cease has the track record of, being able to provide innings and be one of those ace caliber guys. So, I know it was a low bar to be better than he was in Sacramento, but he crossed that, and hopefully he makes progress from there. And no, I'm not going to be talking a bunch about, oh, he's shaven, no beard. Like, I'm kind of tired of that, to be quite honest. Like, whatever. Hopefully that helps. There was a Jackson Merrill update, real quick. I don't have really much to add on it. But Marty Caswell, I saw her post a video of Lockridge and Merrill, hamstring buddies, rehabbing that, not rehab, trying to work their way back, doing some sort of hamstring work with the trainers out there in the outfield today. I don't know what it ended up being like, because I just saw that little video. Did they end up like actually jogging a little bit, or it was just those little, not even high knees, whatever they were doing? I don't know what it was doing, but maybe trying to activate the hamstring. Um, is that all they did? Like, what did they do? Musgrove was out there too. He's probably trying to, keep his legs strong, obviously, because he's going to need them to be when he comes back in a while. It's not like it's now. But that's progression at least. But that's all the video. I hope that someone would have posted if he was actually running. So that I don't think that he is. I doubt that he was actually even jogging. Maybe he was, but this is like the first day of him, it seems like, being back on the field. And as Kevin Acee wrote the other day, like, this is going to be a process. He's not coming back on the 18th. It's the 16th. He's just started. So I would not expect him back until at least next homestand, which is going to be, I think, starting the 24th or 25th against Tampa. Because it's Houston, Detroit, and then I think back home. So, I mean, maybe the second series of the next homestand. The way the Padres are playing, though, like, Tyler Wade can make things happen. I'm fine with the outfield situation at the moment. They're 15-4. I just wanted to give you guys that little update there. We'll see if, Kevin Acee or someone else updates us a little bit more on everything that Merrill and Brandon Lockridge did. I will probably tweet that out once I see that. So you can stay tuned there. But yeah. All right. I see Grant wants to join the show, so I do want to get to Grant here. Let's see if he can hear me. You got me, Grant?
Hey, Ben, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Yeah, good to see another Padres win today.
Yeah, for sure. Love the start
Yeah,
that we're off to. And obviously, yesterday was disappointing, but took 2 out of 3.
yeah, it's good to at least split the season series with these Cubs. I mean, they're looking really good this year, and I'm just happy to be able to do that without Merrill even.
Yeah, for sure. Look, there's other talent in this lineup, like I've said, but Merrill is a guy that can be an MVP candidate. So obviously, when that happens and he goes out, it's just like, all right, what is that going to mean for the rest of the lineup? Obviously, you have a rise now in, I guess he was kind of the same role, right? 2 spot, but it creates different things with the lineup in different spots that guys have to be in. Obviously, new center field. So there's just some question marks there, but I think this just shows like there's a team commitment to playing shield ball or grit squad ball, whatever you want to call it, just good baseball, with or without Jackson Merrill. Now, Merrill's obviously one of those guys that we identify with that, but it's a whole team thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And just the production from up and down the lineup has been really impressive to me this season. Seeing even in few and far between occasions, seeing some production from Gurriel has been great. Seeing Hayward put up some good at bats has been good. Just the bench has been generally better than I expected. I was kind of worried going into the season that we were going to have a repeat of the whole Carpenter Cruz platoon, and so far it's been definitely a bit better than that in my opinion.
It's been more of a Peralta Solano like last year. I mean, not
Yeah.
to that level, but yeah, I mean, Hayward, rough start to the season, obviously, but I think since he's gotten his feet underneath him a little bit more, I know he's a vet, like he doesn't really need the time, but it's a long season, and putting the ball in play, getting even some time in center field as well, and he had that one homer the other day. Gurriel is more like, all right, when Merrill or Lockridge comes back, can we stick with Connor Joe and can we get Gurriel off? We have Connor Joe as the righty because Gurriel, I mean, it's just we know who he is. He's
Right.
Deadpool. I, I just think you can have more versatility taking up a roster spot over a 40-year-old. He reminds me more of the Nelson Cruz. But yeah, you're right. Like this bench, and I want to include Maldonado in this because Diaz, I feel like, is more like starting. But both of those guys actually are sharing that time. It's not really heavily weighted towards one or the other. It's really based on who's pitching. But both of those guys have been doing a really good job, I think, behind the plate, and pitchers are comfortable with them. And they have produced a little bit behind offensively, excuse me, at the plate as well. And yeah, overall, you have Tyler Wade that they bring in, Jose Iglesias when Crony goes down. That's a really good guy to have defensively and just be able to put him in there. And even he's actually contributed some offensively as well. So yeah, well rounded. Um, some guys that should have had major league deals, in my opinion, they end up getting picked up by the Padres on minor league deals. And obviously, Gavin Sheets, we know what he's done. And so I think it's a credit to a lot of the players obviously putting in the work, but credit to the Padres as well for getting those guys and bringing them in and finding a way to have them on a minor league deal. But and like Tyler Wade, for example, not making the opening day roster, but you make him belong and like make sure that he fits the team, and that he knows he's valued. And look what happens. He ends up saying, "All right, no, this is where I belong. I'm going to stay here." And now he's making an impact at the big league level, like we saw today.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, great to hear the show. Coming from Sacramento as a fellow Helix alumni. So
Yeah, there you go.
glad to be watching the show, and keep it up, man.
Thanks. Appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
You too.
Yeah, go Highlanders. Once a Scotty, always a Scotty. Love it. All right. Before going to the chat, did want to shout out some of the great partners of this show. Gaglione Bros Famous Cheesesteaks and Garlic Fries. Their main location is on Friars Road. They've got 2 locations inside Petco Park, one in the upper deck, one down the third baseline. Keep going down. Almost you get to the Western Metal, it's obvious. You'll see it. There's usually long lines because of how popular it is. But trust me, it is worth it. They've got cheesesteak fries, garlic fries, cheese fries. A lot of great stuff there. And then you may be noticing on the YouTube side of things that I am wearing a basketball jersey. And I'll try to stand up a little bit here so you can see it better. But it is the Joe Musgrove City Connect jersey. I'll probably be posting some pictures tomorrow, hopefully, about it. And it's a new partnership that we have, or that I have, with Freestyle Cut and Stitch. If you don't know about Freestyle Cut and Stitch, well, you're going to learn right now about them. It's a San Diego brand, and that was important for me to partner with Sean on this. Sean is the head guy of Freestyle Cut and Stitch. Yeah, them being a San Diego brand, and there are players that support this brand as well, like Joe Musgrove, Jackson Merrill. I'm sure you guys have seen the really popular basketball jerseys that the players wear. That is this that I'm wearing here. Musgrove's worn them, wears them all the time. Merrill, Profar was a big guy that wore them last year. Manny has worn them. A bunch of guys have worn them. Hassan Kim when he was here. So I do encourage you to check them out. FreestyleCutAndStitch.com. That is the website. They are a visionary custom sports jersey maker. They operate exclusively online. They offer fans a unique, fresh design to elevate their swag. In addition to their ready-made creations, they provide custom design and manufacturing services tailored to teams, including Little Leagues. I did see Eastlake. They have some that are out there. Travel ball clubs, fan groups, and businesses. They specialize in creating one-of-a-kind merchandise for clients, fans, players, youth, and parents, ensuring each piece is as distinctive as the community it represents. Again, freestylecutandstitch.com is the website. Follow them on Instagram at freestylecutandstitch. And code Talking Friars for 10% off on any future order. Again, that's code Talking Friars for 10% off. There's Aztecs that they can do. And if you message Freestyle Cut and Stitch with a certain request, I've done it. They will get back to you and they will try their best to make that happen. It doesn't have to be Padres. It can be another team in the city that you'd like. I believe they have some SDFC, Chucky Lozano, San Diego State. They have done San Diego Wave as well. So check them out. Again, Freestyle Cut and Stitch is the website. Breaking Tea, they've got Padres and Aztec shirts and sweatshirts. They just released a couple new ones. Holy Sheets, that one is out. They just released a new Nando Nukes shirt. So check that out. Link in the description. And then same code, Talking Friars, $20 off your first SeatGeek order when you sign up with your email. All right. Let's go to the chat here. Thank you all for joining. Much appreciated here on this, what is today, Wednesday? A lot of time, I don't even know what day of the week it is. All right. Tatis bat flip after the walk in the 8th was so tough. Well, he earned it. Like, he was patient. There were plenty of pitches he could have just swung at and probably made contact with, but he didn't. No in the strike zone. Would he have done that in his rookie year? I don't know. Total Baseball says, we knew we weren't going to sweep the Cubs. The series win is good, especially without key players. Yeah, and this Cubs team, it is a good team, for sure. First, now the NL Central, it's not like the NL West, obviously. NL West is the best division in baseball. But they're still first in the NL Central. They obviously have some pretty darn good players on their team. I know Dansby's off to a slow start, but that's a talented shortstop right there. Having Kyle Tucker on that team. Some guys that they have in the rotation. Obviously, they lost last night when they had Imanaga go. That was tough for the Padres, but he is someone that's pretty special. They've got talent on that team. So it could be a team the Padres end up seeing down the line. But I think it's good that their season series is over. The Cubs could be playing better baseball down the road, and they could have matched up. And so that's done. To go, what would that be? 3-3, right? Yeah, because Cubs won the first series, Padres won this one. To go 3-3, I'm fine with that because how they're winning every other series, and sometimes you go 500 against teams, a first place team in a division, a team that's over 500, and one of the series was in mid 40 weather where clearly pitchers were off. I'll take that for sure. And the other series, you didn't have Jackson Merrill, you didn't have Jake Cronenworth. Yeah, I'll take that. Dane says some of the bottom of the lineup could be better, but I'm still feeling good. Yeah, that's a reasonable take. Sweep the Astros. Well, Albert, emphasized that and changed it to ASS. How are the Astros doing this year? I don't know if they're playing today, but right now they are 8-10. The AL West is not very good either. But yeah, the Astros, they're 8-10. They're in 4th place in the AL West right now. That's not the same team that they were. So usually I see the Astros and it's like, ooh, tough series. And it could, Framber Valdez is pitching on Sunday. That's what he's lined up for on Sunday Night Baseball. But with some of the guys, the Padres, like Kyle Hart, he's been pitching well, not at Wrigley. They're not playing at Wrigley. They're playing in, they changed the name to the ballpark too. It was Minute Maid, and now it's Daikin Park, I think. Daikin Park, however you say it. So he's throwing. Michael King, I think, is throwing. Who am I missing? Cease maybe on Sunday. But yeah, winning the series definitely. Whenever you go on the road, and yeah, they're playing this well, so maybe I should have the higher expectation. But take 2 out of 3. If you take the first 2 and you lose the Valdez game, I don't think that's the end of the world. And yeah, keep winning series. And when you win a series, you go, from that 3 games, You're a game over 500. You improve your record. So that's all I'm asking for at this point in time right now when they're 15-4. Jose says we need Jackson and Jake. I mean, the way the team's playing, we don't need them right now. So I disagree with that. But down the road, of course, yeah, you want those guys. But no, they need to be as close to 100% as they can be by the time they get back. Looking around Major League Baseball, because I do have the standings pulled up right now. Hopefully there's some other just baseball fans out there, not just Padre fans. But any teams that stand out to me, the Giants at 12-5. I was not expecting that to start off the year. Rockies are 3-14. Phillies are 10-7. The Braves 5-13. It didn't help that they started off the season with the Padres and Dodgers. That's tough. And then the Profar suspension. NL Central, they've got two teams over 500. One of them's the Reds, and they're 9-8. So not a great division there. The Orioles are 6-10. That reminds me. There was an athletic executive survey that went out. Like, who's the best GM and best front offices in baseball? I think they polled like 40 executives, something like that. And the Padres and AJ Preller came in 10th. The Orioles were ranked ahead of the Padres, which doesn't make sense to me. I know a lot of the front office and stuff is about like developing and they had a bunch of great prospects and a bunch of great young talent the Orioles have. But isn't it about winning? What have the Orioles done with that, though? They haven't done anything with that. The Padres have been to the NLCS pretty recently. They were really close to being the Dodgers last season. The start there, now I don't know when this executive survey was done. Maybe it was in spring training, so no one knew that the Padres were going to get off to this start. But with the Padres, the circumstances, I thought the Orioles had money to spend with new ownership coming in. With the Padres' circumstances, where Peter passes away, you're trimming payroll, you trade Juan Soto, and you make things work. And you win over 90 games last year. And what Preller has done with the limits on him, part of it's his fault, but part of it's also just financially, no TV deal, that sort of stuff, right? But I'm talking about like big TV deal. What he's done, I think, is pretty darn good. So I know I'm biased, but I'm putting Preller over the Orioles. When you suck and you tank and you have that many number one picks or, top 5 picks, whatever it was, yeah, you should probably have some pretty darn good talent up there at the big league level. Yeah, you should. The Padres, they've been better in recent years, and there's been some limitations there. And I think Preller and his front office has done a heck of a job at, keeping this team a contending team based on some guys, that they weren't going to be able to keep. Yeah, David Peralta is still out there. Kind of wonder why. Maybe it's him now that teams have offered him minor league deals or whatever, and he doesn't want to do that, and he wants to wait for an injury to happen because injuries happen, and then he can go and sign with a contender, or after the trade deadline, if he's still out there, then he can go sign where, so he can guarantee that he's on a contending team and not go sign with a team that he thinks could be contending, and then they end up not being in contention because he doesn't have that many more years left in his career, right? I'd like David Peralta, sure, but he probably doesn't think that he's the best fit right now with what they've got with the Padres situation. See, this is where the overreactions come. Someone says here, get rid of Wandy Peralta. Well, how about this? Let's pull up facts and pull up numbers here. Because Wandy was disappointing last year for sure. And I know today wasn't the best outing. But going into today's outing, Mr. A fan or Mrs. A fan, whoever you are, who says get rid of Wandy Peralta, you want to get rid of a guy that entered today with a 0 ERA on the season. Opponent batting average of 0.80. A guy that has gone 8 scoreless appearances to start the season before today you want to get rid of that guy, a guy that's been one of the Padres' best relievers. Yeah, no, I'm good. I disagree with that. Look at the numbers before making a suggestion like that. You'd rather have Cosgrove, the same person would rather have Cosgrove over Wandy Peralta. Again, go look at the numbers. Cosgrove had walked, what, 4 guys in that outing before he got DFA'd? One outing in that one inning. I like Cosgrove. I wish he would have stayed in the organization as well, but I think the Padres know what they're doing with bullpen. Go look at the track record. Yeah, at least I have some people that agree with me in the chat here. Wandy, ERA 0. Check it out, fan dude. Last year he sucked, but yeah, he's doing good now. Any other questions? Anything you want me to bring up here before I end this show? Give you some moments to say anything in the comments. But yeah, right now Padres 15-4, Giants are 12-5, 2 games back. Dodgers 13-6, D-backs are 10-7, and those are the 4 teams. The Rockies, we knew that they were never going to be that good or good at all, and they're 3-14, so they're living right up to that. I mean, you look run differentials and everything, especially when it's April 16th. But you got the Padres at plus 37, Giants plus 27, Dodgers plus 6, D-backs plus 16, and the Rockies negative 50. Like, what a gap. Holy cow. Mets are winning their division right now, 11-7. Cubs are at 12-9. Yankees are 10-7 in the East. Guardians are 9-7 in the Central. Tigers, who the Padres will be seeing in this upcoming road trip, they're 10-8 right now. And the Rangers are 10-7. Astros, again, 8-10. They're only 2.5 back, though. It's not a great division there in the AL West. Grant asked, thoughts on the rotation moving forward? I mean, I think it's in a good spot. Obviously, Darvish, we'll see. They're slow playing it, as they should. Regardless of what the status of this rotation was, even if guys were struggling, then go to Steven Kolek. Try other options, Omar Cruz, something else. But you want Darvish for the stretch run. You want him for the postseason. And I think this team's going to be a postseason team. So, yeah, it seems like they're leaving a lot of things up to Darvish and how he feels, obviously. He knows his body better than anyone. So, I'm fine with that. Vasquez, I like what I'm seeing there. I know sometimes he gives up a good amount of hits. I think 7 hits this last time out. But to me, it seems like, I don't know if it's confident. Maybe it is confidence. I saw in Kevin Acey's Padres Daily that someone, I think it was Manny, that had a quote about how well Vasquez is pitching and how I'm pretty sure Manny did mention confidence in there. And so I'm liking what I'm seeing from Randy. That's my point there. Cease, I'm not concerned with right now. Pavetta, love what I'm seeing there. The velocity, I think a lot of the time he is hitting his spots. The energy, the competitiveness, love it. Michael King, obviously, I mean, last outing, complete game shutty. Let's not forget about him. Who am I forgetting? Kyle Hart. Again, it's kind of like Randy. It's like Pavetta. He's had good outings other than Wrigley Field. So when it was in the mid 40s. I know they're not going to make that excuse, but I guess I'll make it for him. It's different pitching in that weather. So the rotation, it's in a really good spot. I am pleasantly surprised by how well they've done collectively as a group so far here. I know it's only April 16th, but the pitching staff is in the best spot we could have imagined right now, performance-wise with these guys. And the lineup, I know like home runs are like a sexy thing, but you know what's pretty appealing as well? winning baseball games and doing whatever it takes to win baseball games. And that's what this lineup is doing. Grant says we need some starting pitching at the deadline or sooner. We have a solid core, but need better options for 3 to 5. Do we right now? I mean, sure, you want the depth. So I'm not saying that we shouldn't go acquire starters at the deadline. But do we need better guys? We need someone better than Nick Pivetta as a 3 guy. You say better options 3 to 5. We need someone at the back of the rotation better than Randy Vasquez, who's going 5 innings and giving up 1 run. We need someone better than Kyle Hart, who 5 innings, 2 runs his first outing. Last outing went 6 innings, no earned runs. Didn't walk anyone. We need someone better than that. I know that's the Rockies, so you can wait and to give your thoughts on Kyle Hart till he faces the next lineup. But right now, I don't think we need better 3 to 5 options. I like where we're at right now. That could change, but all I can speak to is about right now. Okay, so Grant says Pivetta's great, just not seeing the long-term potential of Vasquez or Hart. I mean, but I think we got to realize where they are in the rotation. They're there for a reason, and set our expectations to match where they're at in the rotation. Right? So if they're at the back of the rotation, don't have your expectations be the same that you have for Michael King or Dylan Cease or Nick Pivetta. For me, my expectation for those 2 guys is give me 5+ innings and preferably 2 or less runs, but even if it's 3, I guess depending on the night, that's not the end of the world because the bullpen, for the most part, has been shut down and you're not going to give up any runs there. And the lineup can put pressure on the opponent. And you're not facing a bullpen that's better than your bullpen. So hopefully you get what I'm saying there. I'm fine with the pitching staff right now. Depth, obviously, but as we sit here on April 16th, I'm pleasantly surprised a little bit by collectively this rotation. And there's still intriguing options down there at AAA as well, like Stephen Kolek and what would Omar Cruz do, So we'll see. All right, that's going to do it. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the show. Padres take 2 out of 3 from the Cubs. They are the best team in baseball. I don't care what other fan bases want to say on social media. I'm going to celebrate this. We should celebrate this because they can't take away these wins. And what's the point of sports? What's the point of baseball on a nightly basis if you're not going to enjoy it as a fan? We're not in the front office. Let's enjoy it.